every time I like drive through like mountains, I think about if I can scale that mountain and how long would it take me if I would like survive.
What are you watching?
Like,
what are you looking?
For you page?
Yeah, what's on your page?
Oh, to be completely honest, it's Shiba Inus, cute dogs, and golf.
Are you a live or PGA guy?
I'm both.
Okay.
I'm just trying I meticulously produce my videos, and if it comes off as meaningful, is because I make sure every line matters. Every time I hit the record button matters. Every time I pick a location, it matters, and it's calculated.
Like when you look at like this big ass mountain, you're like, I got that a couple hours.
No,
we're not in any mountains here. Yeah, we're not near any mountains.
I got a stack of this gold. I tell you I'm on the road. About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on rough for greatness. They pay for getters. They want money more than they want fame.
Welcome back to the Real Oshow podcast. I'm Zachary.
And I'm Joshua.
And we're sitting down today with Adrian Per, director, entrepreneur, and one of the most unique content creators out there.
And while filming the episode, Adrian's camera got a little messed up. And if you know anything about Adrian, he's super good with design and color. So Adrian, if you're seeing this, we owe you another episode.
And if you enjoyed the episode, please share with others. Thank you.
We're here with Adrian Per. I hope I'm saying that right.
OMG Adrian.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I would have never ever thought that would have been a thing.
I like it. Listen, as soon as I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I like that. It's catchy.
I made it on Tumblr years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, years ago, and I thought my name at that point was lame. I thought Adrian Per was whack as fuck. Because growing up, I was made to feel like it was whack as fuck. So, growing up, early 90s, I mean, I know kids now, they're bullies still, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But early 90s babies, it was roasted. They're like, oh, Adrian, that's like a girl's name too. I was like, I guess, Per, I'm like a cat. And, it's a lot of, profanity and how they made fun of me that I don't feel like I should say.
Right.
It's not appropriate, for, this culture this time. But trust me, they made me feel less than. They made me feel less than a man. So I hated my name growing up.
Interesting.
Because it was like a girly first name and Per like a cat. And like just imagine all the other things you can say.
Absolutely.
After that. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do OMG Adrian. Not going to use my last name. I was so ashamed of it. So I just hid that for the longest time. So I made OMG Adrian. And there's nothing to it. Just like, oh my God. Like,
it's Adrian.
Yeah. I mean, another one was like, LOL, it's Adrian. But I was like, that's too hard to say.
Yeah.
And I just didn't take myself seriously. So I just made that my name. Yeah.
So I'm curious because you're a director. You create a lot. And I think on TikTok, Instagram, you take a much different approach than a lot of other creators. I'd like to kind of go around that. How does you as a director, how does that go into a meaningful post in like TikTok and Instagram? Because when I watch a lot of your content, everything's very meaningful. And it's hard to put make a meaningful TikTok or a meaningful Instagram reel when it's just 60 seconds. So you as a director, like how are you incorporating that? What are you kind of doing differently?
So thank you for thinking the things that I make are meaningful. I don't think a lot of the times I approach it just making something I like. Like, I guess the intent of making it meaningful is a byproduct of it. I do think about value for sure, and I want to give value to whoever my viewer is. But ultimately, I'm just creating for myself. So thank you. Right. That means a lot. But as a director, because I still do run my production company, I still work a full-time job. I'm very, very calculated how I spend my time. I time block everything. I make sure like I don't overrun my time or, if I'm getting too close to the end, like that's just the hard cutoff.
Right.
And because of that, I meticulously produce my videos. And if it comes off as meaningful is because I make sure every line matters. Every time I hit the record button matters. Every time I pick a location, it matters and it's calculated.
Right.
So I write my scripts. I time it to either 60 to 90 seconds, and I pick a song, and I write to the song and make sure the pacing fits within the song, the mood, or whatever I'm trying to convey. And I write the locations, I write the shots, if it's going to be a wide shot, close-up, medium shot, wide shot, extreme close-up, and I go out there and just film it. It takes probably like anywhere from 45 minutes to 2 hours to film, sometimes 4 hours if I got to drive from location to location. But that's just how I approach it as a director, because I treat it like a short film.
Right.
I do create content, and it's like the content creators. I first of all, I think I used to have like this thought that there's like a negative stigma behind that term, whether it be that or an influencer. But like the more I see it, and like it's really, the lines are blurred. I think they kind of both blend in with each other, because I guess now people say I'm a content creator, and I'd be like, no, motherfucker, I'm a filmmaker.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Absolutely.
But no, I create silly little video content, but I just treat it like a short film, like a director.
How different is your approach, like for, say, you're making a TikTok or you're helping direct a music video for like Lil Nas X? What is the approach different? Like, obviously the scale is different.
Yeah.
But like, is your process different?
Not at all. It's the same exact thing. We do pre-production. We choose outfits. We choose the pacing. We know the deliverable time. We know when it's going to go up, like what market we're going to hit. It's very, very calculated, for sure.
And for your company, like, obviously just Lil Nas X is just fresh, but like, how are you getting connected with these artists? Are you reaching out to them? Are they reaching out to you? Is it their label? How does that kind of work?
I've been fortunate enough to just put my work out on the internet, and people have reached out to me.
That's great.
But even with that, whether you cold email, cold call, or meet people in passing, it's just, I think just being a genuine person, being a cool person. Like, there's so many talented people that I would never work with because they're dickheads, and there's a lot of dickheads in the industry that kind of just work with other dickheads and jerk each other off because they all just, I don't know what they do with each other, but it's like this circle. It's a circle jerk of people.
That's where my head went.
But like, the people who are really making it shake and making moves, like, we all understand that we're all working towards one goal. And I've always understood that my role, even as a director, I'm an extension of a brand. I'm an extension of the artist or whatever talent. Like, I'm not making my own personal film or my own personal commercial. I think once you realize that you're part of a team, like, and people see that and feel that you're excited about making this team work, even as like a director, or if you're a VP or a commissioner of a commercial, like, understanding and showing that you are happy and proud to be working towards the singular goal. That's just what I've been about. And I think there's a lot of directors that go about it, that make it about themselves. Right. A lot of directors and filmmakers and photographers, whatever creative, right, or painter, they make the mistake of, oh, I'm being hired by Nike, I should be able to make the commercial how I want to because they're hiring me. It's not about you. Understand, Nike is 100%. Nike because they've gone with their branding for a really long time and it works. Okay, yeah. Like they hired you because they might like what you stand for, or they might like that you can execute things well, or you could put your twist on their branding. But whether it's for them or Meg Thee Stallion or whoever it may be, like, just knowing your place, like, even with a title of director, I think that's taken me far, and I just don't think I'm above or below or anybody. It's just,
right.
I think people need to understand you're just part of the machine.
For sure.
Know?
Yeah, especially when you work with big brands.
I have a question. I kind of want to walk it back a little bit. So more so of like your personal short films that you do. So you write it out, you plan it, you write to a song for the pacing. How is your planning process for like what video you're going to do? Like, are you thinking of it like the day before? Are you blocking like an hour time? Like, what video do I want to make today? And then you start planning it. Talk about that process.
I have about 3 weeks of content planned, and that's as far as I want to take it. I feel like if I go too far ahead, it becomes too irrelevant to how I feel. A lot of people talk about batch making content, and I think it works for some types of content for sure. If it's more timeless content, yes, it does work. But the way I approach my films is like, what am I feeling today? Sometimes I feel like I don't want to teach anything. I feel sick and I want to get myself a bowl of soup, or my office feels dead, so I'm going to get myself some plants. It's kind of how I feel. I mean, if sometimes I have something planned and I don't feel like doing it, and I'll plan something the night before, but sometimes I'll have something just that I filmed 2 weeks ago that I think will give good value. I just put it out. It kind of changes. It varies.
For sure. And obviously you're creating a ton. Are there a couple like small creators, people that aren't big mainstream, that you're kind of like looking at like, ooh, they're doing some interesting things. Ooh, I could pull something out of that. Like, is there anyone that you're looking to right now in a creative space that you're like, I would like to, like, I would highlight them?
Highlight, yes, but I don't like stealing from other creators. Yeah. But a crazy thing is, there's this book, I forgot who made it. Great artist copy, but no, good artist copy, but great artist steal, something like that. I forgot. It's a book by somebody.
Yeah.
But I'm inspired by so many people.
Yeah.
Big or small. You know, obviously, like I will look at some frames and want to recreate some frames, right? I mean, we all do it. You know, we all see movies and everybody wants to make something that looks like a Wes Anderson frame.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. I try my hardest not to steal, but be inspired.
But
I guess it's a nice.
I guess
way
a better way to put it then is, what, like, when you're consuming, what are you consuming? Like, what are you watching?
Like,
what are you looking? What's on your page? Like, yeah, like.
Oh, to be completely honest, it's Shiba Inus, cute dogs, and golf.
Really?
Yeah.
You a big golf guy?
Yeah. It's
I like the dogs too.
Who's your guy? Who's your guy? Who's playing right now?
Don't let that go over your head.
So many. Man, what's his name? Victor Hovland just killed it. He just crushed it. Won the FedEx Cup.
So are you a live or PGA guy?
I'm both.
Okay.
I'm just
honestly, I'm just trying to stir it a little bit.
Dude, like when that whole thing came out, I was like, dude, is this just more golf? It sucks that it's separated, but yeah. I just like the going against the grain. Let me look at my Explore page.
I mean, going against the grain is the most creative thing you can do.
Dog, golf, dog, golf.
That's a great For You page.
How often do you get out and like golf then? Or do you just like consuming it?
I consume it every day. But I go out and golf. I try to practice on the range like at least once a week, at the very, very minimum. I used to golf, like actually play rounds like 3 to 4 times a week, like during the pandemic. And then work picked up again. The world opened up, and like now I play like once every 2 weeks if I'm lucky. Or, you know, at one point when I was really busy, like I think up until June, I only played 3 times. Unfortunately, but I mean, that's all I think about.
It's your happy space.
Yeah, it's my therapy. For sure. I would say it's cheaper than therapy, but it's not.
No, actually, you can go deep. You can go deep into golf.
It's like my one thing that like relieves my stress, but stresses me out.
For sure.
At the same time, yeah.
Just to move on to another topic, you had a crazy event in LA. Had a ton of people at it. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like how it happened, what your goal was around that?
Yeah, so I did this art gallery exhibit called We Are Golden, and it was just a passion project. It was a photography project of just Asian culture.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, I was called things like yellow, or just like my dad was Jackie Chan, and just these weird things. You know what I mean? Like it didn't really affect me, but I knew like what it did for like my culture and like the continent as a whole. Like, I'm Filipino, and there wasn't really anything that people knew that differentiated Filipino people from Chinese people and Japanese and Korean or Vietnamese, the entire continent as a whole. Yeah. So May is AAPI month, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make a project that highlighted our culture, like just real people. You know, I know a lot of people, most people followed me because of who I worked with, like the brands, and I guess the celebrities and whatnot. I wanted to make sure I captured just the real people, you know, in their real homes and their businesses, talking about their stories of adversity or moving here to the country, what they've been through to become successful or just make a family. And I displayed it in a gallery. And I didn't know how it was going to go, to be honest. I was just like, you know.
Did it exceed expectations or?
Yeah.
Pretty much at the expectation?
Wildly exceeded my expectations. Just because, I don't know, man. You know, like I had just been making my own personal content since January, and to do something in May, which I had been planning for a while already, Like whether I made my own personal short films or not, I was going to do it.
Right.
You know, so it was a beautiful thing to see, and it's like, and it wasn't about me.
Right.
It was about just sharing the culture and sharing like a reflection of themselves. There was a lot of Asian folks that felt like, wow, I see me in these photos, and it was a beautiful thing to see.
Absolutely. And
That's awesome. But we've talked a lot about like the short films you like to create. Obviously, you're helping produce like music videos and stuff. Is there a dream? Is there a plan to do like a featured film, like something that's like way longer?
Yeah, I still see my career being the biggest and the most growth behind the camera. That's where I feel like I excel at. I put my silly little videos up on the internet and people like it, and that's cool. And, with my production company now, like I barely go on set. I have my other directors and editors handle a lot of the stuff for me.
right.
So I'm just executively producing. Why is that so hard to say? Executively producing or project managing, whatever it may be. But then, sometimes I'll step on set and I'll be like, this is just where I'm meant to
For
be.
sure.
This is where I'm meant to be talking to my DP and my gaffer and my talent and how I'm supposed to execute this and how the camera moves and the lighting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when I'm doing that in front of the camera, it's so different.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
like there is no camera movement.
Absolutely.
It's all still
Yeah.
shots.
Yeah, exactly.
What's funny is people are like, oh, I love your use of the tripod. I'm like, I have no other option. What am I going to do? Hold a gimbal?
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen.
It's hard.
But yeah, no, I see myself directing maybe a handful of feature films. There's only so many ideas that I have, but I do have 2 great ideas. Have not written them yet, but I think one day when I live enough life and get enough experience, I don't think I'm even close to being able to handle a feature film at this point. But someday, yeah, absolutely.
You willing to throw the ideas out right now or no?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean,
Let's
nobody's
do
going to
it.
steal them. The one that I'm most excited about is so my uncle and my grandpa, they were both in the Navy. Being Filipino, there's a lot of not controversy. I guess it would be controversy between Filipinos and the government of the United States. We were convinced that we would get a lot of really great American benefits and get help if we helped them in the wars and build bases in the Philippines, and there was a lot of collateral damage that happened. So I want to make a movie that it's a glorification of war because we love those movies, right?
Yeah.
I love Saving Private Ryan. I love American Sniper. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. We love war movies. So
yeah.
I want to.
It's our
It's
economy.
the
I want
story.
to catfish people that thinking that this is an amazing war movie for the first like 70% of the film. This guy gets to live the American dream, fit in with all the American folks. He's Filipino. He leaves his wife behind, tells him, when I come back and when we're done with this war, we're going to move to the United States. We're going to be citizens. We're going to get health care. We're going to get benefits. We're going to be able to retire, put our kids through school. So he's doing his thing, killing people, helping people on the battlefield, a Band of Brothers type story. When everything's said and done, it's time for them to move. They come over to the United States, and there's no trace of them at all. So you live the first 70% of the movie like,
Yeah.
this is it.
I like
This is what
that.
we love about America.
Yeah.
Fucking bald eagle shit,
It's great.
Just to find out that all these Filipinos got fucked over. And some of these guys are still alive today, fighting for their rights, fighting for what the United States promised them. And I'm not trying to make a controversial film that's, anti-United States propaganda, but it's a real thing that like a lot of like my people have been through, and nobody's made a film about that. And I'm not trying to be an advocate or like a spokesperson for the Philippines or whatever, but I think it's a great film idea.
Yeah, I
like
think
it.
that's great. No, I think it's great. I like that. It's got a different spin
The truth
to it.
hurts at the end of the day.
Yeah,
People
just
don't like the truth.
Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
like
It's a good film.
Same thing.
yeah, it's like he created, like we didn't literally blow up the world, but like the world is a different place.
way
now.
different.
Changed.
Yeah. So, with that ending, it's like, what do you tell your wife that like I did all these things and we can't get these things, right? We're homeless now. Like, what do we do? Like, we sacrifice everything for nothing.
Yeah.
And
I completely agree.
yeah, that's the film I want to make.
I want to transition a little bit here. So we are here at Hudson Yards, and you're a Gary Vee fan.
Huge.
One, I want to know where it came from. Like, what made you a Gary Vee fan? And if there was like one thing that you were like, yo, I'm going to follow him to the ends of the earth because of that thing.
So I had heard the name around for years, like sub 2016-ish or so, 2017. I started listening to him, and I was like, yeah, this is teaching me some good stuff. And I would be inspired by whether it be his content or other people's content of their own, that they get to do things on their own terms. And while I was a director and I ran a production company, me and my business partner, it's like we still had to answer to people to a certain degree, and that's okay. I mean, that's just how the business works. To a certain degree, you're answering to people, but I love what he stood for, and it just motivated the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it wasn't for that guy, like him and like a very, very small handful of people, I wouldn't be making my own content today. I definitely wouldn't have that confidence. I definitely wouldn't have said, fuck it, let me go for it. But I remember vividly, like it was just December and there was a podcast. He was like, what are you doing? Still listening to this podcast? Like,
yeah,
fucking go for it. Like, just go, stop. Like you people keep telling me like I'm saying the same things because it's timeless. It's literally timeless information.
100%.
And I decided, all right, I'm never going to listen to this again and just go for it. And now I'm here in this office. I was telling the other folks earlier, I was like, I feel like the fan that won a contest. I'm just walking around. And then I see the guy in person. I'm like, is that the wax figure of him?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's really him. And I remember, like, I saw him. I turned the corner. And then you guys literally saw me, like, I need to take one more look to make sure it's like,
actually,
he is real. He is fucking real. Yeah. Because, bro, like, what is that? Like 10 months ago?
Yeah.
10 months ago.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's
full circle a little bit.
Very, very.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe any of the things that are happening right now. It feels like a dream.
It's where hard work and a little bit of good bounces come out.
There's always, like, when I feel like as humans, and I've even thought about it, like, within myself, when good things happen, no matter how hard you work and no matter, like, how worthy you think you are, when they happen, you're still like, wait, why did this happen to me? Like, sometimes like that. And it's even like when you're talking to the podcast, like, where you, like, finally took the jump to make content, it's a lot of Gary's content. It's the same thing over and over because it's like, it's going to be that one time where it actually hits you and you're like, fuck, he's right. Yeah. Even though I've heard him say it 477 times literally before
for years.
It's just like, then that one time you're like, fuck it, you're right, I'm not going to listen to this podcast anymore. And it's just, and then now you're finally here. It's I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you.
Dude, I don't even know what's going on in the podcast anymore. I literally just never looked back. I literally took that and said, you know, why am I listening to this shit still? Like,
he would love that shit too, to be honest with you. He'd be like, fuck. It's like, you got the message loud and clear.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it took years of, like, you know, figuring out what made me feel so insecure, what made me feel not worthy enough, what made me feel like, what's stopping me? And everything is just in my head. And I just, you know, could hear him like, what are you fucking worried about?
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah. It's just like,
fucking do
it. Fuck, you're right.
Yeah. Just to close things out. So at 137, we're further curious. And so we ask everyone that comes in here, what are you curious about that others wouldn't expect? Obviously, you're a director, you create, you do a lot of different things. Outside of that, what are you curious about?
Oh, man. Every time I, like, drive through, like, mountains, I think about if I can scale that mountain and how long would it take me if I would, like, survive.
Give me an example. Give me like when you look at, like, this big ass mountain, you're like, I got that a couple hours. We're not in any mountains here. Yeah, we're not near any mountains.
I don't know why. It's something I've always done. Like, because I live in California, there's a shit ton of mountains everywhere. It's so funny. Like, my girl, I always ask her, and I remember we were driving to Coachella recently again. I was like, damn, that's really big, babe. How long do you think it would take you to climb that mountain? And she's like, I fucking knew you were going to ask that. You asked me the same thing last year. You always fucking ask. How long is it going to take?
Yeah. And what was your consensus?
And she was like, 4 days. I was like, nah, it can't be, because if that thing is 10,000 feet up, that means it's only 2 miles. And you can hike 2 miles pretty quickly. I was like, it would probably take like a day.
Yeah.
I would think so. And then we were like, oh no, it's really steep. And we think about like the cold air up there because of the top of the mountain snowing. And I'm like, you're right. You know, I'm always curious about that for whatever stupid reason.
You got to do like an Everest trip or something. Like get that itch out of you,
dude. I will die. You know,
so you have no desire to actually climb. You just
not at all.
It's like the what if.
I am in no shape to climb scale a mountain. Like, bro, you know what is a percentage? Like 5% of people. I'm making this statistic up, but I know there's a percentage of people who die climbing Mount Everest every year.
Highest percentage ever this year.
There's
so much traffic.
I would be one of those people. I would be in the smaller part of the pie. I would die, bro. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, shit, bro.
Man, we appreciate you jumping on.
Adrian,
It's been a pleasure.
It.
Man, thank you guys. I had a blast.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And now I'm singing, yeah. If you gon' go, then go, don't tell me you won't. I want them diamonds on my neck to make me look like I'm cold. That ain't for you and none of these hoes, that's just for me and my bros. I gotta fight for my balls, I gotta stack out this gold. I tell you I'm on a roll. About to get on